Hello, everyone. I've been a very, very bad person. I haven't uploaded in a while. In my defense, I've been battling an illness for the past 3 months, and I had to go figure out what was wrong with me. But because I haven't had the time to really make a well thought out, very well planned video, I decided to be very honest with everyone and give them some tea in my life. So I'm going to tell you all the stories of some of the most pathetic men I've dated in my life. You could just say all of them are pathetic, but I just think these would be the funny ones. Let's start off with erectile dysfunction Bay. This was a grown ass man who was at that time like 22 or 23, but his dick was just not working. I mean, I've done stuff with a decent amount of dudes that I know when something's wrong, and there was clearly something wrong with him. So, how did I meet erectile dysfunction Bay? I met him, of course, on fucking Bumble, and he just someone who reminded me of home, who made me feel comfortable. So, and this was the time where I recently moved into a new city. So I was kind of vulnerable and lonely. So I decided to start talking to Erectile Dysfunction Bay. And things kind of escalated quickly because, as I said, I was lonely. I'd moved to a new city. I knew nobody. But of course, Erectile Dysfunction Bay, dick was not working. I was just there like, I cannot suck this shit. I'm not doing this much work for nobody, okay? And another thing is that when you are like, when you really like somebody, you let go of their flaws. But then he started trying to waste my time, which I'll tell you how he was wasting my time. But this whole ass, limped dicked, love handled, childbearing hipped, psoriasis ass man was trying to waste my time. So I cut him off. That was actually the first time in my life when I realized that even the men who are nicest to you, who should see some kind of allyship with you, could still be the ones trying to waste your time. I think let me give you some more backstory into the entire situation. When I was talking to him, I had a coworker who was a different race from me. She's Asian. And she was talking to this white dude. And literally within 2 weeks, he was already telling her, oh, I want us to be official. I want us to be all these things. And I was here 2 months into erectile dysfunctionhood. And this dude was still trying to waste my time. So that's when I didn't know shit about dating. And I was like, oh, let's have the conversation of what are we? And the dude starts trying to talk about, I don't want a woman to use me. First of all, this is what I hate about men. It's always the brokest one of y'all that are afraid that women will use y'all. How would I use a man who does the same job, basically makes what I make? I don't get it, but let's just another story. He was like, oh, I don't want a woman to use me or whatever. Okay. I'm like, what would I use you for? We do the same job in two different companies. And because I'm not American, the first thing he said is that you use me for a green card. And I'm like, this riggedy raggedy ass motherfucker really sat down and compared everything I had and everything he had. And this was like the one thing he thought I did not have. And you know what? That was such a red flag. And then one day I was just walking back from work, and I was just thinking, my Asian co-workers here being begged to be in partnerships, and I'm here begging a basically pregnant man to love me. So while I was still in the food court in the mall was there was a food court in the mall, and that was where the train station was on my way home. I texted him and told him I can't do this bullshit anymore. And that was the first time in my life I really took responsibility for my happiness and stopped playing this losing game that women play. Of course, this stupid ass man starts texting me more and shit, but then I just block him everywhere because I'm like, there's nothing useful in this situationship. Fast forward 2 years later, and COVID happens. And I get some of my contacts at a different company are like, oh, come interview here. We would like somebody with your skills. So I start talking to some higher execs in that company. And I reach out to one of the black people in the company just to find the inside scoop, how does it feel to be a black person in this company? And I think that person tells Mr. Erectile Dysfunction. And Mr. Erectile Dysfunction now messages me on fucking Facebook, the only place that I had not blocked him on. And of course, now that I have dignity and self-respect, all I did was block his ass. So that's erectile dysfunction Bay. Now let's go on to plant Bay. Oh my God, I call him gardener now because there's really not much to this story. I love plants, and I started talking to this boy. He did plants in my company. He did like like lots of companies have plant setups and large plants, and he was the one who came once a week to organize them. And I love plants, and I really wanted this specific type of plant that my office had. So when I saw him, I was like, oh my God, if you find that plant, can I have a cutting of it? I really want this plant. And literally within like 10 minutes, he brought one to my table. And then at the end of the day, he actually brought two more. And my love language is acts of service. So I was like, ooh. And then I give him my number. And then I invite him over to my building, but not my apartment. Yeah, I invite him over to my building. And we're just at the rooftop of my building. It has this beautiful fireplace, and we're just hanging out. And God, I don't know what it is about blonde white men. They do something to me. I don't know if I need to go unpack that. But he was just cute. And we started making out because that's all we do. But I told him, I'm not cooking for you until we're together. I'm not doing any of those girlfriend things. And I think he kind of knew he could not waste my time. He saw my building, and men do this thing where when you invite them over, they're not just coming to chill. When they see your building, your apartment, where you work, they begin to make assumptions and guesses as to, can I really waste this girl's time? And I think he just, once I made my stance clear that I'm not cooking for you unless we're married, like not married, but unless we're together. I am not doing any girlfriend thing unless we're together. His entire mood changed, and then he started wasting my time more. He also hated the fact that he had to pay for our fucking date to the motherfucking park. This whole ass broke dude. It was like a $15 date. God, I hate these men. I really do. I fucking hate them. But yeah, I just didn't even bother. And honestly, if they ever tell you to communicate with a man, you're just wasting your time. Moved on from that one. But of course, in regular fucking male fashion, when COVID happened, he texted me. And I just ignored his ass because you don't give them attention. But as usual, one day I got really high. And then I was like, I now texted him, you know what, you have a lot of fucking guts texting me this. Because I was high. And when you're high, you're unhinged, okay? And he now responded, oh, sorry, I just thought we could be on better terms after all this time had passed. What is wrong with these men? Why do they lie so much? Whatever. So that's Plant Bay. Now let's talk about Homeless Bay. Homeless Bay was a homeless man in my city. God, my dating history is so fucking pathetic. But I just thought it would be funny to share all this. And when I would go to work, he would always once he complimented, was like, oh my God, your hair is so nice. I was like, thank you. So when I was coming, so that was on my way to work one day. And he always used to stand in one corner. So I said, next time I come into the city and I pass that corner in the morning, I'll give him something like a scone. Because I was like, I really empathize with homeless people. I'm not one of those people who try to like ignore them. And I know it sucks being in a city with a large homeless population. I just wish I could give everyone fucking housing. Like, that's a basic human right, whatever. So I go to this very nice bakery and I get a box of scones. And I remember I saw him another morning and I gave him one. And you could just see how his eyes lit up because we do this thing where we ignore the homeless and we make them feel like they don't exist. Because if we actually saw that a fellow human being was living like that, we would actually fix the homeless problem. And I just used to call him Homeless Bay because he would always just treat me, just give me stupid compliments and shit. Whatever. So that was just some of my pathetic situationships. I thought it was funny to share all this. It was actually after Erectile Dysfunction Bay. I was like, what does this Asian coworker of mine know that I don't know? That maybe I'm playing this game fucking wrong. Like maybe she sees something that I don't see and I could play this game better. So I decided, you know what? I will take personal responsibility. I am picking these men wrong. I will go learn the game. Then I started learning about all the rules and regulations of dating. Fam, I take physics, math, computer science. I have done all these courses. None of them are nearly as hard as all the rules you have to remember when dating these broke dudes. And I'm not even talking about broke as in just money because none of these men were poor. Actually, Erectile Dysfunction made decent money. He was a software engineer. But like, it's so complicated navigating these relationships, all the different dynamics. And I was like, you know what? This is really fucking hard. And this is hard for somebody who does hard things every day. So I decided, I'm just going to take a break from all this mess. And I didn't really know what a break meant. I just know that it meant I was not going to have to put myself out there anymore and just kind of experience my life. And hopefully, instead of experiencing my life, I begin to take action in my life. After taking a break for 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, you go through like different phases. You go through that sadness phase that you see couples and you're like, why is that never me? Why can't that be me? Why doesn't that happen to people like me? Why does that happen to other people? Then after you go out to dinner a lot of times by yourself and you realize, oh, it's easier for me to be seated when I'm a company of one instead of two people. You're like, advantages of being single. And then at a certain point, you realize that you don't have to deal with the messiness of another person's life. It really hit me like a ton of bricks that, like, from an early age, we make women begin to play this stupid dating game. We set women up to tell them from the earliest time that you're most valuable when you're being looked at. From the moment you step out of your womb, you should get ready to perform and to fill the only roles you're allowed to play, which is mother, girlfriend, or wife. And once I realized that I wasn't playing this game, I wasn't even trying to play this game, life became a lot simpler. Like, I legit told my friend who recently got married that my life became easier once I stopped dating, and she legit said, I'm not surprised. For some people, their married friends will lie to them, but sometimes when you listen to some of your married friends, you hear the truth. And once my life became simpler, and I got over being sad about myself, I actually began to enjoy my life. I began to truly enjoy my life and live my life my own way. And I have never felt happier. So fast forward to today, post-COVID world. I messaged somebody who I've always loved all my entire life. He's basically my high school sweetheart. He's like the one man who's really met me with kindness, respect, dignity. Like, you know how whenever you do things in any way intimate with a lot of men, they begin to escalate the situation. Whenever I would make out, would just make out, I would have to tell him, okay, it's okay for you to touch me in these ways. And right now I'm kind of set my goals on some things. And that's partly why I've been distracted with uploading content, because I have to finish some things before I can really focus on the coffee salon. So I will do better. And with my sickness too, those have been extenuating factors. But because I have my goals set on a specific expectation this year, I knew I couldn't talk to him. He's my high school sweetheart, and he's somebody who we keep on bumping into each other, but we needed to grow. We went to 2 different countries for school. We just needed to fucking grow. And even the idea of spending days talking to him and once you get those endorphins, those feel good hormones of talking to somebody, you just get drawn back in. And I realized I have a goal here. I have my eyes set on something. And I cannot take my eye off the prize. So I told him that, like, I love talking to you. I will always love you. And he always tells me I love you too. Like, you know how lots of men play status games. They see you as an object to showcase to other men their status positions. He does not play status games. He's just a man who's living. He's kind of, there's alpha, beta. He's like a delta. He just does not play these games. He's not playing these games with other men. And I told him I could not do this with you anymore. Even though we're just talking, I really need to focus on the life I want to build for myself. And it was in the middle of today I started thinking about what that meant for me. I was once the girl that any semblance of attention a man gave me, I would cling to that attention. I would cling to it so desperately. But now I no longer have to do that. I literally can tell the love of my life, if you're meant to be in my life, you find me. But now I need to find myself. I need to keep on pouring into myself. So I say all this because I will do better with the content. Actually, I've been thinking about this idea of taking inventory on some of our subconscious beliefs about ourselves, and some ideas that we hold so truly that maybe are actually false. But I decided to make this video because I think it would be nice to commiserate with somebody who's had pathetic dating experiences. If you've had some situationships, relationships, dark times in your life, like I have with a man whose dick didn't work, comment down below. If he also had an erectile dysfunction, bae, call it what it is. If you had a homeless bae, call it what it is. If you had a jobless bae, put it in the comments. I want women to be able to have a space where we can commiserate on our growth, on our patheticness, on our shame, and feel comfortable and just grow. I wish women had a guide to womanhood. And I wish we had a thing all our mothers, we had access to the information all our mothers didn't teach us. But at least here we can all complain up and talk shit about the men we've had in our past. I hope you've all enjoyed this. This is Coffee. Have a wonderful rest of your day.